You've been going to the gym for months, maybe years. You show up. You put in the work. You sweat, you push, you leave tired every single time, and yet, your body still looks the same as it did 6 months ago. If that sounds familiar, I need you to hear this. It's not because you're lazy, and it's not because you're not working hard enough. It's because somewhere in your routine, you're making mistakes that are quietly canceling out all that effort. Today, I'm going to break down 8 of the most common workout routine mistakes, the ones almost nobody talks about, and exactly how to fix each one, step by step. By the end of this video, you'll know precisely why your progress has stalled, and what to do differently starting with your very next workout. Let's get into it. The first mistake, and probably the biggest one, is using the same weight, the same reps and the same sets, week after week after week. Your body is incredibly good at adapting. The first time you lift a weight, it's a shock to your muscles. That's what triggers growth. But the second time, the third time, the 10th time you lift that exact same weight, your body has already adapted. There's no new stimulus, no new reason to change. This is why so many people can train hard, 4 or 5 days a week for months on end, and still look exactly the same in the mirror. They're working. They're just not progressing. Here's the fix. Every single week, your goal is to increase something. It could be 5 more pounds on the bar, 1 extra rep on your last set, 1 extra set added to the exercise, or simply slower, more controlled reps that increase the time your muscle spends under tension. It doesn't need to be a dramatic jump. Small, consistent increases, tracked over weeks and months, are exactly what force your muscles to keep adapting and growing. If you walk into the gym and lift the exact same numbers you lifted last month, you are, by definition, not progressing. The second mistake is walking into the gym with no real plan, just picking whatever machine happens to be free and doing a few sets before moving to the next thing that looks interesting. Without structure, your training becomes accidental. You end up hitting the muscles you enjoy training, usually chest and arms, far too often, while your back, legs, and shoulders get neglected for weeks at a time. This creates 2 problems. First, imbalanced muscle development, which over time can even lead to posture issues and injury. Second, and just as damaging, is that your favorite muscles stop growing too, because they're not getting enough recovery between sessions. The fix is simpler than people think. Follow an actual program. It doesn't need to be complicated or advanced. A basic split, for example, push-pull legs, or an upper body and lower body split, repeated consistently for 6 to 8 weeks, will do more for your physique than an entire year of random, unplanned workouts. Structure isn't boring. Structure is what turns effort into visible, predictable results. The third mistake is walking straight into your heaviest lift with cold muscles and 0 preparation. Skipping. The warm-up doesn't just increase your risk of injury, it also means your first working sets are performed with joints and muscles that aren't fully primed to produce force. You end up lifting less than you're actually capable of, simply because your body isn't ready yet. A lot of people skip this step because they think warming up wastes time they could be spending on real sets. But a rushed warm-up often costs you more time later, through nagging injuries, tweaked shoulders, or stiff lower backs that sideline you for weeks. The fix. Spend 5 to 10 minutes before your main lifts on light cardio to raise your body temperature, followed by 2 or 3 warm-up sets of your first exercise using lighter weight. By the time you reach your heaviest set, your muscles, joints, and nervous system are all fully prepared to perform at their best. The fourth mistake is spending most of your workout time on isolation exercises, bicep curls, lateral raises, cable flies, while avoiding the big, demanding compound movements. Isolation work absolutely has its place, but it isn't what builds a strong muscular foundation. Movements like squats, deadlifts, bench press, rows, and overhead presses recruit far more total muscle mass, trigger a much bigger overall growth response, and build real, functional strength that carries into everything else you do. If your workout doesn't include at least 1 heavy compound lift near the beginning, you are leaving the majority of your potential progress on the table. Here's the fix. Start every session with a compound movement. While your energy and focus are at their highest, Let isolation exercises come later in the workout, where their job is to finish off a muscle, not to replace real training. The fifth mistake is chasing heavier numbers on the bar at the cost of proper form. This usually looks like half reps, wild momentum, and body parts swinging and jerking just to move the weight, technically lifting it, but without any real control. The ego wants a bigger number. The muscle doesn't actually feel any of it. The problem is twofold. First, poor form dramatically increases your risk of injury, sometimes an injury that sets you back months. Second, and this surprises people, lifting with bad form usually means less muscle activation, not more. You may be moving a heavier weight, but your target muscle is doing less actual work than if you'd used a lighter, controlled weight with a full range of motion. The fix: drop your ego at the door. Choose a weight you can control through the entire range of motion, with a clear mind-muscle connection on every rep. A slightly lighter, well-executed set will build more muscle than a heavier, sloppy one, every single time. The sixth mistake is training at high intensity every single day, with little to no real rest. Here's something most people don't fully understand. Your muscles don't grow in the gym. They grow when you rest. Training is the stimulus that breaks the muscle down. Recovery is the process that rebuilds it, bigger and stronger than before. Skip recovery, and you're simply breaking your body down over and over, with nothing left to show for it. This is also exactly why so many people feel constantly tired, sore and stuck at the same weights month after month. That's not extra dedication. That's a body that never gets the chance to actually repair itself. The fix is straightforward, even if it feels counterintuitive. Give each muscle group at least 48 hours before training it again directly. Prioritize sleep. This is when the vast majority of muscle repair and growth hormone release actually happens. And take at least one full rest day every week, even when it feels uncomfortable to skip a session. Progress happens in the recovery, just as much as it happens in the workout itself. The seventh mistake is training for months, sometimes years, without ever writing anything down. If you don't know exactly what you lifted last week, how could you possibly know if you're improving this week? Most people simply assume they're progressing, when in reality, they've unknowingly repeated the exact same workout, at the exact same weights, for months at a time. This is the quiet mistake that causes almost every other mistake on this list. Without tracking, you can't apply progressive overload, because you don't know what to increase. Without tracking, you can't tell whether your program is actually working. You are essentially training blind. The fix: keep a simple log, an app, a notebook, even just the Notes app on your phone. Write down the exercise, the weight, and the reps for every single set. Glance back at your last session before you start the next one. The moment you start tracking your numbers, you stop guessing, and you start actually, measurably progressing. The eighth and final mistake